Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn about chapter motion, a topic motion wherein we are going to stress upon the concept of distance and displacement. तो जब मोशन की बात आती है कुछ टर्म्स होते हैं जो हमें पता होने चाहिए उसमें से एक है डिस्टेंस एंड डिस्प्लेसमेंट. So let us start quickly without wasting any time. Now, there are important terms, as I just mentioned, that we should know when we are learning about motion of a body. That is, the points are scalar and vector quantities. We know that in physics, we are going to learn about the quantities which we can measure, right? So, जो quantities हम measure कर सकते हैं, उन्हें हम बुलाते हैं physical quantities, right? So, the quantities which we can measure, they are called as physical quantities, and they are categorized into two. They are rather classified as two categories. First is a scalar quantity and the second is a vector quantity. So scalar quantities are the ones which make complete sense only if their magnitude is specified. And the vector quantities will make sense when it is being described by magnitude as well as a direction. तो स्केलर क्वांटिटीज में सिर्फ मैग्नीट्यूड होता है, वेक्टर क्वांटिटी में मैग्नीट्यूड एंड डायरेक्शन दोनों जरूरी होते हैं. तो अब हम देखते हैं एग्जांपल्स क्या है स्केलर एंड वेक्टर क्वांटिटीज के. So first of all, we'll see what is a scalar quantity. So a quantity which has only magnitude. Example देखा जाए तो mass, length, time. So when we say we want to buy a mass of some 1 kilogram, 2 kilogram, we are not specifying a direction in that, isn't it? Right? So mass specify करने के लिए हमें डायरेक्शन की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है, तो इसलिए वो क्वांटिटीज को हम स्केलर क्वांटिटीज बुलाते हैं. Wherein वेक्टर क्वांटिटीज होती है वो जिनमें magnitude as well as direction, both the things are needed. So example of that is velocity. So if I want to mention that the body was traveling with a speed of 50 meter per second in east or west direction, so when I'm saying that, I'm specifying the velocity of the object. And when I talk about the displacement, it also needs the magnitude as well as the direction. Yes, now next is the scalars will obey the algebraic rules for operations like addition, multiplication. Scalar quantity के साथ करना है तो you can just simply add the numbers. But when we're talking about the vector quantities, we have to follow the vector algebra. And that is what the vectors addition or multiplication will be done. Then scalars can divide another scalar like a normal magnitude quantity. So it doesn't have any problem in multiplication or division also. But two vectors can never divide each other. That is the rule for scalar. For now, you understand only the scalar quantity, which needs only the magnitude for describing it, and the vector quantity, which needs magnitude as well as the direction. So vector is any physical quantity which has both magnitude and direction. So in case I want to represent a vector, how would I do that? So suppose this is the velocity vector. So vector is represented with a letter V. Now this is for velocity and with an arrow on the head showing a direction. So that doesn't mean a direction left में है तो आपको left में arrow दिखाना है, नहीं. आपका direction will always be shown like this only. So you can identify this is a vector quantity. So example you can see here velocity, that means the object is moving with the magnitude 20 meter per second. So ये speed हो गया, and in which direction? In north. Acceleration is 20 meter per second square in direction east. Force, how much force you apply? Let us assume 5 Newton of force is applied in west direction. So force is also a vector quantity. So this was about scalar and vector quantity. Now, why have we studied this? Because the next topic which is coming up about the distance and displacement, we are going to refer to the scalar and vector quantity. So without wasting time, let us move on to the next topic. Rest and motion. So when we are talking about motion of a body, we need to know these two terms, rest and motion. So rest क्या होता है? Rest is when the position of the body does not change with respect to the surrounding. So surrounding होता है एक fixed position और एक origin of the body. If your body stays at that position even after some time, that means अगर आपका object का surrounding नहीं change हो रहा है, even after some time has lapsed, we say the body is in a state of rest. That is the state of rest. Then if we say the position of the body changes with respect to the surrounding. तो जैसे एक bird है, you see the bird, first of all it is in some surrounding, maybe sitting on a tree somewhere, and in the next few seconds it will be flying, and that time you see the surrounding, it has changed. तो surrounding change हो गया मतलब इसका position change हो गया with respect to the surrounding. So we say that bird is in motion. Consider a book which is kept on a table. You keep it now, after 5 minutes also you come and see the book is there only. So surrounding book का change नहीं हुआ है, means book का position भी नहीं change हुआ है with respect to the surrounding. So we say the book is in a state of rest. So that is what we say, rest and motion. So here in this part we're going to learn about when the body is in motion, what all things can happen. And there's one more concept coming up, which is the motion is a relative. We'll see what that is. So rest and motion are relative. अभी हमने देखा कि रेस्ट पोजीशन क्या होती है, पोजीशन रादर मोशन क्या होता है. बट एक केस कंसिडर करते हैं, जैसे यू आर ट्रैवलिंग इन अ ट्रेन. So you're traveling in a train and the person sitting in front of you, if you're looking at him, जैसे आप इसको देख रहे हो, some person who's sitting next to you, you feel that he is in a state of rest because आप खुद भी उसके साथ move कर रहे हो. But somebody sees you both from outside. Somebody sees the same person from outside the train. What he will feel that this person is in a state of motion. So for you, this person is in a state of rest, but for the person who is outside, he is in a state of motion. So same body, same person can be in a state of rest as well as in a state of motion. That is why we say motion is a relative term. तो मोशन क्या है, देखने वाले के पर्सपेक्टिव पे डिपेंड करता है. आप कहाँ से उस ऑब्जेक्ट को देख रहे हो, आप कहाँ से उस बॉडी को देख रहे हो, वो डिसाइड करेगा कि ऑब्जेक्ट रेस्ट में है या मोशन में है. सो सेम ऑब्जेक्ट कैन बी इन अ स्टेट ऑफ रेस्ट, एट द सेम टाइम कैन बी इन अ स्टेट ऑफ मोशन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू सम अदर पर्सन. सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द पर्सपेक्टिव और द व्यूअर्स पॉइंट. वो कहाँ से उस ऑब्जेक्ट को व्यू कर रहा है. दैट इज वाई वी से द स्टेटमेंट motion is a relative. So the term motion is relative का मतलब ये होता है. Now when the body is in motion, it can be in different types. Okay, there are different types in which the body can move. So there's one dimensional motion, means when an object is moving in a straight line in only one direction. मतलब एक जगह से point A से निकला है, point B तक पहुंच रहा है. ठीक है. सो ए हो गया उसका ओरिजिनल पोजीशन, बी हो गया उसका फाइनल पोजीशन. सो व्हेन द बॉडी इज मूविंग फ्रॉम one position to the other, then and moving in a straight line, we say it is a one dimensional motion. बट कई बार ऐसा होता है कि मोशन एक डायरेक्शन में नहीं है, आपको चेंज करना है, डायरेक्शन टर्न करना है, कहीं और जाना है, तब क्या हो जाता है, वो हो जाती है आपकी टू डायमेंशनल मोशन इन विच देयर इज अ लेंथ एंड विड्थ इन्वॉल्व. सो वन डायमेंशनल मोशन में सिर्फ लेंथ इन्वॉल्व था, टू डायमेंशनल में लेंथ एंड विड्थ. तो आपका फुटबॉल देखोगे इन द सेम प्लेन, इट इज चेंजिंग द डायरेक्शन एवरी टाइम, राइट. कभी यहाँ जाएगा, कभी यहाँ जाएगा, कभी यहाँ जाएगा. सो इट इज बट ऑन द ग्राउंड. सो एक ही प्लेन में वो डायरेक्शन चेंज कर रहा है. सो दैट इज अ टू डायमेंशनल मोशन. थ्री डायमेंशनल क्या होता है, व्हेन यू हैव लेंथ, विड्थ एज वेल एज डेप्थ. मतलब इट इज मूविंग इन वन प्लेन एंड ऑल्सो चेंजिंग द प्लेन. तो इसमें एक्स डायरेक्शन भी आ जाता है, वाई भी आ जाता है, एंड मूविंग वर्टिकली अपवर्ड तो जेड भी आ जाता है, राइट. सो दिस इज एक्स, y, and then z also comes in. So that is your three-dimensional motion. But here we are only going to learn about one-dimensional motion. Now coming to the point of distance and displacement. Now imagine the body has started from A, which is the initial position of the body, and the person or the body has to reach at point B. Now, for moving from A to B, there are various paths the person or the object can take. So, whatever path that object or the body is taking, we call that path as distance. But imagine there is a shortest path also available to take. When I'm talking about different paths, so in this case, it is blue color is the distance shown. So it is the total length. So A से B तक जाने के लिए हम जो भी लेंथ कवर कर रहे हैं, जो भी पाथ ले रहे हैं, उसको हम बोलेंगे डिस्टेंस. बट इफ आई हैव अ शॉर्टकट, जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना शॉर्टकट अवेलेबल है मुझे, तो आई विल प्रेफर दैट शॉर्टकट. सो दैट शॉर्टकट विल बी माय डिस्प्लेसमेंट इन सिंपलर वर्ड्स, है ना. सो ये पाथ छोड़ के देयर इज अनदर पाथ. इमेजिन इट ट्राइज टू go through this path. Then what happens? My distance is still changing. इसमें consider कर लेते हैं कि कुछ 20 meters का distance cover किया है. But while taking this one, maybe I covered 30 meter distance. But मेरा shortcut हमेशा कितना रहने वाला है? Let us take an example, 10 meter. So displacement is nothing but the shortest route. Distance क्या होता है आपका? Total length of the path through which the body travels. So your path changes, your distance is going to change, but your displacement will not change. So that is, but when I'm talking about the distance, I say it is a scalar quantity, because in this I'm not considering which direction I'm going. I am only concerned about I have to start from A and I have to reach at B. तो A से मुझे B तक ही पहुंचना है. A मेरा इनिशियल पोजीशन है, B मेरा फाइनल पोजीशन है. So उसमें मैं नहीं कंसिडर कर रही हूँ मुझे कौन सा डायरेक्शन लेना है. So that is why I say distance is a scalar quantity which does not need a direction to be specified. When I'm saying it is a length of the path, तो length का unit जो होता है वही distance का होने वाला है. So SI unit for the distance is going to be meter, and if we talk about the CGS unit, it is going to be centimeters. Then we'll see what is the displacement. The way I just told you, I have to start from A and reach point B. So in doing that, I have taken, if you can see the blue marked one, yes, मैंने ये path choose किया है, तो मेरा distance change हो रहा है. But मेरा displacement हमेशा क्या है? Red marking में A to B is my displacement, which is going to be the shortest distance from initial to the final. Now, what is important here? I am saying from initial to the final. So I am specifying the direction that I have to start from A and I have to reach, or rather move towards B. So when I'm saying that from initial to the final position, I'm mentioning the direction. So when I'm mentioning the direction, this automatically becomes the vector quantity. Yes, so displacement is a vector quantity because it is specifying that the body has to move from initial to the final position, जो direction mention कर रहा है, along with the magnitude also. This is also the length. Since this is also the length, SI unit इसका भी same होने वाला है, meter, and CGS is going to be centimeter. तो distance and displacement का unit same है, just that distance आपका scalar quantity है, displacement आपका vector quantity है, because the reason I told you, it is mentioning the direction, or rather the motion from initial to the final position. So this is about the distance and displacement. Now I'll show you a few examples of displacement. So here is one boy who's standing at position A. So while the boy has to move from A to B to C, D, and back to A. So when he is moving from A to B to C to D, मतलब पूरा वो rectangle cover करके आ रहा है, उसका distance होने वाला है around 3 meters plus 5 meters plus 3 meters plus 5 meters. So उसका distance calculate करें तो वो होने वाला है around 16 meters. But when I talk about the displacement, yes, the displacement, because he started from A, so A इसका initial position हो गया, and he came back to A, तो A ही इसका final position हो गया. So if your initial and final positions are going to be same, there's no shortest path, there's no distance or there's no difference between your initial and final positions. So इस केस में आपका displacement हो रहा है 0. So when you're starting from one point, coming back to the same point after taking various routes, आपका distance जो भी आप लेंथ ऑफ पाथ कवर कर रहे हो वो होने वाला है, बट डिस्प्लेसमेंट हमेशा रहेगा 0. सो हियर ऑल्सो इफ यू सी A to F you need to go, you take any path, that is going to be your distance. But if I am talking about the displacement, this is going to be A to F directly. So ये आपका है displacement. And whatever path, whatever route you decide, that will change your distance value. So when you're talking about a body which is moving in a circular path, when suppose A से B आपको travel करना है half the circle, so that time your displacement is equal to 2r, or we can say it is equal to the diameter. But when you're coming back from B to A से start करके taking one round across the circle and coming back to A, you are covering the distance equal to 2 pi r, जो है circumference of the circle, but आपका displacement होने वाला है 0, because A is only your initial position and A is the final position. So in all these examples we have seen the distance. Now, is there any place wherein your object will cover the equal distance and displacement? So we'll take an example. जैसे A से start किया and you just stopped at B. So in this you're moving in only one direction. In this case, your distance is going to be equal to AB and your displacement is also going to be AB only, right? That means if the body is moving in only one direction or in a straight line, your distance and displacement values are going to be equal. So one dimensional motion, or when the body is moving in only one direction, your distance and displacement values are same. In all these examples we have seen, कहीं पे भी आपने अगर देखा है distance का value, as long as the body is moving, your distance is never equal to 0. But your displacement is 0 if you're coming back to the same position. So magnitude of displacement can be equal. जैसे ये example देखा, distance and displacement equal है. Then distance can be less than, displacement can be less than the distance, or even displacement can be 0. But आपका distance कभी भी 0 नहीं होगा as long as the body is moving. So that is about the distance and displacement. If we see all these differences we've just summed up here. Distance क्या होता है? It is the length of the path traveled, and displacement is the shortest distance between the initial to the final position. आपका distance क्या है? Scalar quantity है. Displacement is a vector quantity. The distance measured is always going to be positive. But your displacement can be positive, negative if you're going in the opposite direction, and it can even be 0. The unit for both of them is going to be meter only. So this was about the difference between the distance and displacement. I hope you liked the video, and don't forget to watch the next video about speed and velocity. If you find this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.